All right, so in this section, I want to talk about a contextual skill building induction. This is something I refer to often. It is not the only strategy that I use with my clients, but it is almost always my go-to induction, or at least certain components of it. And the reason why is simple. This induction actually teaches skills. If we do nothing with our client other than this induction and then send them home, 90% of the people who came to see us would actually be very satisfied with what their experience was. It is, in fact, based on what we know actually works in hypnosis. It does not mean that other things don't work. It doesn't mean that other inductions aren't useful or valid, but we need to have a starting point, I think, for the work with our clients. And so my starting point is two things. One, what's most likely to be effective? So if you were to go to a stage hypnosis show here in Las Vegas, you were to go see Mark Savard or Kevin Lapine or Anthony Cools or anyone else who's doing stage hypnosis, you will most likely see that they're actually going to do some form of a progressive muscle relaxation induction, probably some other components to it, breath work and those sorts of things, ego strengthening. But it's going to be very basic. And I asked Terry Stokes once, who does a very basic induction. He's probably hypnotized more people in Las Vegas and around the world than anyone else. Why do you do a progressive muscle relaxation induction? By the way, he did for years his progressive muscle relaxation induction with the background music of The Wizard of Oz. What was that song? Somewhere Over the Rainbow, right? So you can't get any more basic than this. And I said, wow, you're at the top of the game. You have a show on the Strip. You've done more hypnosis than probably anybody in the world. Why do you do that? And he said, oh, it's simple. He said, it's because people paid $50 for a ticket, and they expect to have a good show. And I know that this will work. It's foolproof. Not only is it foolproof, not only do most people easily respond to progressive muscle relaxation, but the research actually shows us that it is a highly effective approach. It does incorporate a number of different elements to it, ranging from teaching a specific skill, even to boredom. Those are all things that are okay. Many of my anxious clients need to actually spend more time bored, so it's actually boredom therapy to some extent. But a progressive muscle relaxation induction can be done in 30 to 60 to 90 seconds. Or it can become something that's a 12 or 20 minute training process for certain clients. Depends on their need. So the contextual skill building induction looks at what skills can we use, and these are the components that I use with my clients. The first is eye fixation. Pick a point over on the far wall. Lately, what I've been using is that print, or in my case, a video image of pointillism. Because if we're going to use a point on the far wall, we may as well make that point pretty interesting. I also have a short video clip of stars. And the stars sort of gently swirl a little bit, and you can pick a star to focus your attention on. I mean, they're not swirly like this, but they just gently move a little bit. There's some movement to it, some texture to it. Some of you even twinkle a little bit here and there. It actually gets slower and slower and slower, this particular video clip, and eventually it just becomes completely still as they focus all of their attention on one particular star. But when I have the opportunity to make a hypnosis induction more interesting by using art or by using images of stars, or you could even use, I don't have one in my office, but you could use one of those star laser shooters and shoot lasers up onto the ceiling. Why wouldn't you choose the opportunity to make this ritual of going to the hypnotist as interesting as you possibly can? And so if you're going to use eye fixation, there are a zillion different ways to do it. You could even use a hypnospiral. Bring all of your attention to the center of the hypnospiral, right? Focus your eyes right there. A lot of stage hypnotists use this. So there's a stage hypnosis prop that I actually like. I used to have one actually in my office in Tulsa. I don't have one anymore. But it actually is a hypnospiral that fits on a cordless drill.
Yeah, hers spins and she has somebody hold it up in their head.
Right, exactly.
And then
when they move it, the head expands or contracts depending on which way the hypnospiral is going. That is an optical illusion, and it's really pretty cool. I do that with the painting Starry, Starry Night. So for eye fixation, I show them the point. Actually, I do this as a convincer. And then after they focus on it, bam, the image of Starry, Starry Night appears. When the image of Starry, Starry Night, the Vincent van Gogh painting appears, it begins to move. And it's a pretty cool effect. The clouds, the stars, the moon, the things that are in that image all become a vibrant moving sky. My comment is to them, have you ever seen this painting like this before? And the answer, of course, is no. That's pretty cool. And of course, it's caused by focusing the ocular muscles at a specific point and then relaxing those muscles. That's actually what's happening when you're seeing that movement. So it actually becomes a good way to show really how profound relaxation really is. So I begin with eye fixation though. And the most important thing about eye fixation is not to use pointillism art, or do you use a hypnospiral, or do you have them just focus on a point on the far wall. Really the most important thing about this is that it shows them that they can focus their attention wherever they want to. So think about a pain control client in hypnosis. They could focus on their pain, or they could focus on their comfort. I guarantee if you have pain somewhere in your body right now, you also have comfort in your body right now. Where is it your attention is focused? The other thing about eye fixation that's really kind of cool is here we can manifest our first experience with hypnotic phenomena. So do this right now, whether you're at home or here, pick a point on the far wall and focus on it. Wherever the wall is across from you, focus on that point. If you're watching this on video, just focus on a point on the video. Bring all of your attention to that spot. Essentially, stare at a spot. And as you bring all of your attention to the spot, notice, of course, that the eyes become a little bit tired. The spot might change. It might become sharper, crisper, and clearer. It may begin to fade away, or maybe it doesn't change at all, but keep your attention focused on that spot. And you've heard a Hollywood hypnotist say, your eyelids are getting sleepy. Your eyelids are getting sleepy. By focusing on a spot, you've caused the eyes to get tired, so go ahead and close the eyes down now. And here's what's amazing. Even with the eyes closed, it's almost as if you have X-ray vision and you can still focus your attention on that spot. Which, by the way, also teaches us that we can focus our attention even on things that we are not actually seeing, which is another profound or great learning. Now, I've achieved, go ahead and open your eyes, a couple things here with eye fixation. I've focused our attention. I've created a ritual. I've produced hypnotic phenomena. You are seeing the spot, even with the eyes closed, as if it's X-ray vision. If they're experiencing these things, their conscious mind is telling their subconscious mind, wow, I'm really going into hypnosis. I actually see that spot, even though my eyes are closed. This is pretty cool. I must be getting hypnotized. And if you believe I must be getting hypnotized, what's happening to you? You're getting hypnotized. So I usually go from eye fixation into progressive muscle relaxation, usually a little bit of active and a little bit of passive. Passive, again, is simply, and continue that relaxation. Unclench the jaws, let the chin fall towards the chest, drop the shoulders. Allow yourself to relax. Scan the body. Anywhere you notice the tension of the day, let that tension disappear. Now bring your attention to your relaxed hands. And then you can do active, the difference between tension and relaxation. Tense your hands into a fist, hold that tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, relax. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tense them up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax again, doubling the sensation of relaxation, feeling the tingly fingers. You can do that with the eyes open or closed, introducing some elements of fractionation. Go ahead, continue to close the eyes again. With the eyes closed, relax the rest of the muscles in your body, the buttocks, the thighs, the calves, the shins, even the little tiny muscles of your toes. So now I just did that in this example here in about, 75 seconds, less than a minute and a half. We could, if we have a client who's experiencing a lot of physical anxiety, go through even all 16 of Jacobson's muscle groups. That could take us 30 or 40 minutes. So we can do this rapidly and quickly, Or we can take progressive muscle relaxation and turn it into a training protocol that actually teaches a very valuable skill. And you can use it at any level. Probably with the majority of my clients who I work with, I probably spend 3 to 5 minutes. Maybe on the long end, 7 minutes. But there have been clients who I've worked with. Clients, one particular client I'm thinking of who was an oncology patient and had a lot of somatization. The emotions were being felt as physical sensations. There were real physical sensations because of the surgical processes that he had experienced, etc. There was a lot of mental processing and just the inability to stay in the present. Mindfulness was something very difficult for him. And so I spent, I think, probably 18 minutes going through each muscle group, helping him relax even further. So first time he said he had felt relaxed in months since he got the diagnosis. We can also couple this progressive muscle relaxation, of course, with mindfulness and focus on the breath. And as you continue to relax, focus on your breath. Paying attention to the breath. And anytime you wonder, am I really being hypnotized? Or anytime you wonder, is this actually going to work? Or anytime you have self-doubt, or you have a feeling or a sensation that's not helpful to you, rather than following it, just bring your attention back to the breath and continue to relax. So we can bring mindfulness, which is something I probably taught him in the pre-talk, into the hypnotic induction. Now, I almost always use autogenic training as well with my progressive muscle relaxation. Autogenic training is a lot of people are familiar with 1928's Edmund Jacobson wrote a book called Progressive Muscle Relaxation, and there's 16 muscle groups that he guided his patients through. About the same time, there was a German physician, his name was Johannes Schultz, and he created a process called autogenic training. He actually borrowed it from ancient meditation techniques, but nonetheless, like King Solomon said, there's really nothing new under the sun. And his idea was generate from within. Auto, self, genic, generate. So generate from within myself. And so he taught an 8-week protocol to his patients. Now his patients were heart patients. And they were heart patients before we had transplants, before we had Plavix, before we had, the ability to put in a stent and open a vessel. So it was a heart surgeon before they had preventative things. And basically it sucked being a heart surgeon back then, because all his patients died. So he says, there's got to be some way for them not to die until we invent all this cool stuff that saves lives. So he trained them in autogenic training, saying to yourself, my hands are warm and heavy. My hands are warm and heavy. My hands are warm and heavy. And let yourself feel a sense of warmth and heaviness. Focus on the feet. Say to yourself, my feet are warm and heavy. My feet are warm and heavy. My feet are warm and heavy. And let your feet be warm and heavy. Now there's a bunch of things going on here. I'm doing a hypnosis induction, but I'm asking them to say something. Guess what? It now gives them power. By asking them to, in this case, use an affirmation of a physical experience, it's still an affirmation, and they're creating with their own words. It's very empowering to clients. It is also an element of hypnotic phenomena. I haven't turned the heat on or off in this room. I haven't put a book or a brick on their hands or their feet. But I've never had a client yet who didn't say, at one level or another, they did not feel warmth or health or warmth or heaviness. Now there are other things we can do. We can create cool. My forehead is cool. My forehead is cool. My forehead is cool. By the way, there was a journal article a couple of years ago that showed that one of the most effective interventions for hot flashes during periods of menopause was actually hypnosis that incorporated autogenic training. My forehead is cool. My forehead is cool. My forehead is cool. And these may be simple things in an induction, create warmth and heaviness and a sense of coolness. But the lesson learned here is, wow, if I can create coolness out of nothing, or warmth out of nothing, or heaviness out of nothing, can I create empowerment? Can I create success? Can I create optimism? Can I manifest my goals? What else can I create? Can I create health where there's illness? Can I create action where there's been procrastination? And it becomes, as part of a hypnotic induction, another learning, the skill of creating from within. Again, Schultz gave us 8 weeks of training. I have gone through 8 weeks of training when I was doing inpatient psychiatry work, and I was working with clients when I was doing residential treatment. I actually would do some autogenic training groups to follow the entire 8-week structure. But for hypnotic induction, I can bring this in, and I can also bring in hypnotic phenomena. So here's what I often do. I often bring in, you demonstrated earlier, the locked eyelids. I don't ever do inductions where I lock the eyelids, but what I do is I use a different version of that, which is sticky hands, right? So let's go through this real quick. Go ahead and close your eyes. And again, I'm going to go through this quickly. Imagine that you fixated on the far wall. You've now closed your eyes and brought your attention to this moment, our mindfulness. And you've relaxed the muscles in the body. A little bit of PMR. And now pay attention to your hands resting on your lap. The left hand and the right hand. Feeling the fabric of your slacks or your jeans below your fingertips. And bring all of your attention, just like you did to that dot, to the hands on your lap. And say to yourself, my hands are warm. My hands are warm. My hands are warm. And let those hands feel a sense of warmth. Warmth like that which might come from the sun or is generated from inside of the body. And say to yourself, my hands are warm. Now think of the word heavy, heavy. And as you focus your attention on your hands, feel the relaxation in the hands and say to yourself, my hands are heavy. My hands are heavy. My hands are heavy. And let them be heavy. Even relax the wrists. Those hands so warm and heavy. Sing to yourself, my hands are warm and heavy. My hands are warm and heavy. My hands are warm and heavy. Now bring your attention to one of your hands. And try to lift that hand, but you'll find it's locked down. It cannot be lifted. Try to lift that hand you're focusing on, and you'll discover it becomes locked down even tighter, warm and heavy. You're doing absolutely perfect. All the way down now. 3, 2, 1, 0. Now, if your eyes aren't open yet, go ahead and open your eyes. Open your eyes. And the interesting thing about that is I have never had anybody yet go, see, Hypno Boy, I can lift my hand. It's never happened. Nobody in this room lifted their hand. You thought about lifting your hand, but when you tried to lift your hand, it became simply easier just to let it sit there because it was so warm and heavy. You created that. I didn't create that. So I've actually brought the convincer into the induction. It's also easier to get results when we bring the convincer into the induction because they've already said yes to the other things. So why wouldn't I say yes to this hand being so heavy that I simply cannot lift it? After I do autogenic training, then I will almost always do some short form of visualization. Now, every now and then I meet a hypnotist who says, well, I can't visualize and my clients can't visualize. When I close my eyes and they close their eyes, they just can't see anything. So we shouldn't do visualization, right? No. Some people are better at visualization than others. I'm great at it. I can construct a whole movie in my mind. Never even have to pay for a movie theater ticket. Some people are auditory. And some people are, of course, kinesthetic. By the way, if you don't know which one you are, do you ever shop at IKEA? Do you ever shop at IKEA? Okay. You know what IKEA is, though, right? You buy all this furniture, and it's in a box, and you have to bring it home. You have to assemble it yourself. So here's the difference between those three primary representational systems. The visual person, they'll actually take the box, look at the picture on the box, try to look at the parts, and then build what they see. That's the way I am. Actually, I'm kind of frustrated with IKEA because IKEA doesn't actually put a picture on the box. And the instructions usually have stick figures and they're horrible. So I'll actually go to the IKEA website and look at the finished product, and then I'll build what I see. Okay. The auditory person reads the directions because reading directions is auditory learning. Step one, take widget A, insert it into part B. Right? They're hearing it in their head and they're following a process. And the kinesthetic person, the engineer, right? They pick up the pieces, they look at it, they hold it, they weigh it, and they figure out, well, this must be the top, this must be the bottom, and they build what they feel. So if you wonder, am I auditory, visual, or kinesthetic? How do you build an IKEA bookcase? That'll answer your question. But if I have somebody who's no good at visualization, then I can increase their acuity. A lot of people take those NLP-related tests to find out a person's primary learning style. Oh, they're not auditory, I won't use affirmations. Oh, they're not kinesthetic, I won't talk about feelings. Oh, they're not visual, I don't want them to visualize anything. No. If your clients lack the strength in one of these areas, then we can practice with them to increase their acuity and essentially create visual intelligence. Because visualization is a powerful skill. It's something I encourage people to do. So my favorite simple visualization is, now that we've focused on a spot, we've relaxed, we've become present, focused, and we've created from within warmth and heaviness, well then, my favorite visualization is, and now imagine you're outside on a perfect day. A place you've been before, or a place you'd like to go, or even a place of your own creation. I don't have to worry now. They can come up with anything. That gives them endless, limited possibilities of where this clear blue sky is. There's a reason why I like the clear blue sky. Because as you now see the clear blue sky, imagine a single white puffy cloud lazily and leisurely floating in the distance. Have you ever seen a cloud before? So has everybody, except for blind people. Everybody else has seen a cloud, unless they were born today and they're still in the hospital and they haven't left the hospital yet. Everybody knows what a cloud is. This is not a visualization, it's difficult. I've also never met anybody, except maybe Oklahoma, Kansas, Dorothy, who's afraid of clouds. Right now, obviously, terrific, horrible storm clouds can induce fear and panic in people, especially if they're from the Midwest. But look, the reality is a single white puffy cloud lazily and leisurely floating off in the distance. It is a visualization nobody is opposed to, and everybody knows what it is. And as it floats off towards the horizon, it becomes smaller and smaller, eventually drifting off into the distance. By the way, that's the way the horizon works. It's because our Earth is round. So as long as you passed first grade science and you know the Earth is round, you will always visualize a cloud floating off to the distance and disappearing off into the horizon. All clouds always do that. There isn't anything else for a cloud to do, because that's the way the horizon and the rotation of the Earth works. It's at that point that both mind and body are completely relaxed. I'm done with my induction. Or I could even, again, dress up this visualization. And as that single white puffy cloud lazily and leisurely floats off into the horizon, if there's anything known or unknown holding you back from success, simply imagine casting it into the cloud, and as it floats off into the distance, let it carry with it any resistance that you may still be holding on to. Right? Bam. So I've combined these 5 elements of effective hypnotic technique into one induction. And I can emphasize a part of it or de-emphasize a part of it. I can make the visualization 10 minutes long. I can make the relaxation 1 minute long. I can make the relaxation 3 minutes long, the mindfulness 5 minutes long. I can adjust it to whatever is going to be most appropriate with my clients. But the reason why I use this as a basic strategy, a contextual skill building induction, it teaches skills. It's easy to do. It follows a process. And I've never had anybody yet who didn't respond to it, where the autogenic training or the convincer was a failure, or where, again, I hear people say, well, what if they can't relax? Everybody can relax. If I have somebody who visibly is not responding to progressive muscle relaxation, I probably got to that point before I should have. Because I should have assessed that this is a person who's still way up here in amped up land and has a hard time relaxing. So I probably should have taught them to relax as part of the pre-talk. By the way, the easiest way to teach somebody to relax is to teach them how to breathe. It's the easiest way to teach somebody how to relax. So I might say to somebody who's really high strung, I might say to them, hey, before we do this, I'm going to be using some techniques of relaxation. I want to teach you a strategy for really relaxing deeply. And so I'll teach them this strategy. Okay? So sit up in your chair, no slouching. Just for this, you can go back to slouching in a moment. Same with you. And if you're watching some video, no slouching, sit up in your chair. And pay attention to your belly. Now go ahead and close your eyes and just breathe in and breathe out. Go ahead, breathe in and breathe out. And perfect. Now go ahead and open your eyes. I was watching you take a breath, and what most of you did was this. You went, you breathed in deep and you puffed up the chest. What that actually does is it actually restricts the airflow. Air only gets to the top part of the lungs. The best way to breathe is to remain still, not to breathe from the chest, but to breathe from the belly. So go ahead and take a hand and put it on top of your belly, just like this. Okay? I could do this with the eyes open or the eyes closed. I often like to teach people with the eyes closed. But go ahead and imagine inside of your belly is a helium-filled balloon, but it has no air in it. It's just inside of you, an empty balloon. Now breathe in by imagining that you're filling up the helium-filled balloon. Notice your chest didn't puff up. Everything stayed relaxed. And now let the air out. Fill up that balloon again. And let the air out. These are belly breaths. And belly breaths let air go to the deepest part of the lungs and oxygenate our entire body. And it brings about a sense of relaxation. Another group who I also teach the breathing exercise to, belly breathing to, is my smokers. My smokers who smoke in the morning, and they smoke in the morning because it's a stimulant. Caffeine, or nicotine is the same family as caffeine. People smoke for the same reason we drink iced tea or Dr. Pepper. It's a pick-me-up, it's a stimulant. It keeps their mind going. So people smoke because it gets them going in the morning. So does oxygen. So if I have smoking cessation clients, I teach them belly breaths and give them this post-hypnotic suggestion that each and every morning you'll wake up and you'll take 4 or 5 deep breaths, breathing with the belly, energizing and oxygenating every cell of the body, feeling energetic, and then starting your day. So it's a great way to lead a session, create a little fractionation, teaching time, and then end with that becoming a post-hypnotic suggestion for them. So this is a basic strategy in induction, and it's the contextual skill building induction. In fact, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give you, in case you don't have it, a complete, it's probably about a 30-minute contextual skill building hypnosis induction practice. And I find it to be really a great way. When we can practice these things on our own, it teaches us how to experience hypnosis at deeper levels, and then helps us to adapt these ideas. What worked for us with the clients who we work with. So I'll make sure that I provide that to you, or if you're watching this on video, I'll put it as a download link. So this is the contextual skill building induction.